Hi everyone, just wanted to let you know that this episode was recorded around the time of the flooding, which is why there's a lot of references to storms and things break up a little bit. That's also why it's very delayed. But this was a really good fun chat with Ash. And as for her sweet shop, it's actually open today. So if you can make your way down to Wollongong in New South Wales, you can go down and find Treatz with a Z.
My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast.
And it's like a koala on a cake. It's like bark on a cake. It's like all of the yummy things that we might have seen this person do. It's just amazing to have you on the show. Welcome aboard, Ash.
Hey, Ash, how you going?
How was that for an
Hi, guys.
Yeah. That was very Hayden-esque in your singing.
Just practicing, for when we get him on the pod and we have to redo that now.
You got to re-sing. Re-sing. So it's wonderful to finally get to see you. Obviously, we would kind of like to have had you on much later.
Yeah, that would have been good. Fortunately, life got in the way.
Yeah, life got in the way, and we didn't even get to say goodbye, which is, I think, the sad thing. We got a round of applause, and wherever you were, you
breaking up.
We got a round of applause, and we could hear the applause wherever you happened to be, but we didn't actually get to see you go. So, that was a bit sad.
Yeah, it was a very abrupt ending to my time on the show, which was a bit disappointing, but can't really do anything about that, can we?
No, you can't get your brain and just go, look, just for the next few weeks, just don't be painful, just do it for once we've got the cake stand, then you can be as painful as you want.
No one else we don't have a switch in our brains, that would be nice, turn off, no pain, no more headaches.
I mean, the plus side of the whole thing is that your lasting legacy then is realistically, it's that koala and that koala cake, which what a bake to finish on, really.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm really glad that was the bake I went out on. So I was so proud of it.
Yeah.
To do all of that in 4 hours, I was just pretty blown away with myself.
It was a bit spectacular, from the texture of the bark to like the koala itself just sitting up there. It's lovely. I'm waiting for it to be on a Westpac ad. I don't walk in and start giving it a little
firefighters coming in.
Yeah. Bank with us.
Bank and bake with us.
Yeah.
And now we're setting you up for a sponsorship.
There you go. You're welcome. But
She went to Westpac today to open an account.
There you go. So
take your quality. I can supply you with these.
Yeah.
Look what we can. Yeah. But I mean, the really cool part about that, I mean, obviously the koala is a big focal point. I really like the fact that you broke the caramello flavors down into the two different cakes. I thought that was really clever. It was just this really cool take on the idea of nostalgia, and you had a lot of those. Where do you get these ideas from? Because there were some brilliant ideas in there.
Thank you. Well, for Nostalgia Week, my nostalgia was more in the imagery and the design of the cake, because I grew up in the bush, and we had no electricity, nothing like that. So it was really my cake was called Home Among the Gum Trees. So that's why the top was like the gum tree and had a little koala up there. And so I wanted to incorporate that. Oh, God, my dog.
We're a very unfriendly podcast.
Yes. Yeah. I really wanted to sort of bring the visual side into it, because I am an artist, and I've always been one. I've always painted, drawn, did photography, everything. And then I decided, I'm going to do edible art. So really with all of my bakes, I tried to bring not only really good flavors and techniques, but also that really great visual impact, which is, I kind of stepped outside the box of what everyone else was doing every week, I think, which is what I like to do.
Yeah, and I noticed that when you were painting the sides, I'm like, oh, she's got a bit of an artistic flair. And now we know there's a good reason for that. So you're saying it's Home Among the Gum Trees. Was there also supposed to be a sheep or two and a kangaroo? Was there a clothesline out the back and a veranda out the front and an old rocking chair? That's just...
If I had a bit more time, maybe.
You could have done the full song.
Yeah, but wait till the
Safeway down the street.
Wait till the bit where the extra Vegemite, the cooking up the roast and Vegemite on toast at the other bench. I mean, that's a crowded kitchen right there.
Those flavors probably wouldn't have gone very well together.
Vegemite and lamb.
Salty land.
Yeah, salty.
Yeah, umami. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah. I don't know if it would go well in the cake though.
Not in the cake, but I mean, look, on the road.
I mean, step outside the box, I suppose. Get very different.
I was about to say, where they're talking about this idea of stepping outside the box and going, I don't know if those flavors are good. Of course they will.
I was just channeling Matt.
You tell everyone, and this is where we need to go with that. You tell everyone that what you've done works, and just say it long enough and loud enough, and everyone will believe that it works. It's like the heirloom tomatoes that you did, and we'll talk about the fact you did a lot of fruit and veg. But as we said on the podcast, when they were like, "Oh, I'm not sure if they look," they're pumpkins. I made pumpkins. They're amazing. Look at the pumpkins.
No, they look like heirloom
tomatoes.
Well,
heirloom tomatoes are different. But that was the day that my migraine was so bad. I couldn't do anything. And they were like, "Oh, you're taking a long time." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I know I'm taking a long time. So didn't you have enough time to undo the string? I was like, no, I didn't. I didn't have enough time.
Oh, look,
I don't know how I'm even standing. Here's a plate.
You know, most people, when they get a migraine, will go into a dark room, put out the lights, put the aircon on, keep it nice and cold. I'm just going to stand under bright lights and bake.
And have a televised
front of a hot oven.
You know, that's what you do when you've got a migraine. And it makes perfect sense to me. Now,
it's got to push through.
Yeah, well, speaking of the nostalgia week, I have to ask, of course, the really pressing question. So, how often did you have the steamed pudding? I mean, you know, like every day growing up as a child, I'm assuming, because, you know.
Every day.
Couldn't move for the steamed pudding.
Yeah.
In the bush, you know. They didn't have electricity. It was all steam powered.
It was foraging for steamed foods.
No offense to Maggie, but I wasn't a fan of that one. I never had a steamed pudding in my life. I mean, especially not one that's got a weird pastry around it made with lard.
It was a fascinating choice. I loved that when it started, I was waiting to see what the reaction was online, and Twitter's reaction was, who in their right mind has ever had this before? Like, Maggie, you know, there's like the rest of the country, right? We're not just looking at a stately beer manor. It's not just.
I know. You see them when they're doing like the intro, like when they're tasting it, and they're like, "Oh, this is the best steamed pudding I've ever had. This is the only steamed pudding I've ever had. I think it's great. It's pretty good. I haven't had another one." But, yeah, no.
Have you kids? Are you creating that nostalgia for your daughter? Like, just
oh yeah, absolutely. It's going on the menu.
Skips home from school. Mummy, here's the steamed pudding this afternoon.
I say steamed pudding.
I told my friend at school she could have one for threepence.
Instead of cupcakes for daycare birthdays, steamed puds all around.
With exactly what's this? It's an anglaise. I've made it anglaise. Drizzle it. Try drizzle.
You uncultured fucks.
You swine. You fucking swine. How dare you?
You've never had a steamed pud?
Look at the layering of that apricot. Just look at it.
I just like to see it then spread, you know, like the friends from preschool then go, "Oh, well, such and such had a steamed pudding. Why can't I have a steamed pudding?" And all the parents come to you like, "What have you done?" But we're quite happy to buy the Woolworths and bring it in. Fucking steamed pudding business.
Can we have a 5-layer tray for tomorrow? No.
I'd be banned from every activity.
Oh,
no more invite.
Oh, look, I mean, the thing is, you'd be making the pastry with the lard all the time, so you'd probably be banned from like all the houses around you. There's get out, get out. But I own this property. Get out. Don't care.
Yeah. We're just laughing, you know. Like I'm just laughing in my head because I'm like, we've now made your daughter sound like, you know, such an elegant little English.
Mummy, I'm gonna keep a sandwich now, please.
It's absolute. Again, I love it when you get a bake that everyone just looks at and goes, "Really?" And that was the one. That was the one. And I find it funny in a series where you've got biscuit chandeliers that's the one.
Everyone's just like, what the fuck? What is this?
I loved the reaction in the pre-biscuit chandelier conversation where they were like, so from all your experience of making biscuit chandeliers, Matt and Maggie, what's the advice you'd pass on to everyone? But I bring that up because your decoration on your biscuit chandelier was outstanding.
Thank you. I think that was actually probably one of my favorite bakes I did in the shed. Yeah. It was really fun. Like I really loved, because I did an engineering degree. So it was really fun to incorporate like engineering and structure into my baking, because that's not something I would normally do. So like coming up with the design and then making like the chandelier and putting the lights on it. And it was all really fun and, something very different to what, anyone does really. Like no one's done that. So it was a lot of fun.
Next project, like a full scale chandelier in the home.
Yeah, actually all the lights in the shop are going to be cookies.
Oh, that's right. Your calf. Your calf.
Yeah.
Your calf. We're going
calf.
So you're opening a wonderful cafe, a dessert bar.
Yeah. I was actually supposed to get the keys today, but the contractor who was meant to clean it yesterday got COVID.
Oh no!
I thought you were about to say he's sailing somewhere up through the middle of Wollongong.
But yeah, luckily Wollongong's on a lot of hills.
Yeah.
So we're pretty safe here in my area anyway.
Yeah, if you can't find Fairy Meadow anymore, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, not going there.
No. Oh, for people who don't know that area, there is a place called Fairy Meadow. We're just not. That's
not us inventing places.
Just made that up. It's make believe.
That's just there going, I want no part of this. No, you're on your own, guys. Fairy Meadow really doesn't exist.
I'm not upsetting the locals.
No, don't upset the locals. So tell us about, again, what you're opening.
So I moved to Wollongong in December from Sydney. And because I'm actually have been retired for ages, and I just moved down here to be closer, to my daughter's family and all of that. So it was a bit easier for us. And then I just found this shop. It's like a restaurant. And I was like, oh, maybe that could be mine. And then later that day, I put in an offer and they accepted it. And I was like, oh, shit.
I'm going to do something now.
I got a restaurant now. Oh.
Thankfully, I went on that.
What have I done? So that happened very quickly, very spontaneously, and I'm so excited about it. There's nothing like it down here in Wollongong. There's only a couple of dessert places, and they're like chain ones that no one really likes that much. So,
I can't remember what it's called. The Ice Creamery.
Don't plug the opposition.
I'm not plugging the opposition. Just ice cream. It's not like going to have awesome friggin' chandeliers that are going to be served and other engineering feats.
Marvels.
Yeah. I'm supposed to get the keys today, but it's been pushed a few days. I'm not really sure when I'm going to get them now, but I'm very excited. It's going to be very pink. I'm not very girly, but I actually really love pink for some reason. But so the shop's going to be pink and have a lot of different desserts. I'm going to do wedding cakes out of there as well eventually. It's going to do like cakes and milkshakes and stuff like that. So it's going to be cute and fun and hopefully a hit.
And we'll see. And open at hours that people might want dessert at too.
Yes, exactly. So it's going to be open because it's right in the restaurant precinct here. So it's the perfect place for a dessert bar because people, go out to dinner and then there's nowhere else to go. So they can just pop next door and have a milkshake and some cake or something fun like that.
If you happen to be within, driving distance, living in miscellaneous city, don't know who that would be. Have dinner and then go for a drive and get dessert. I mean,
I have too, because I've always said that like restaurant areas need like a hammock place or like a place that you can just go and digest.
Yeah, a nap.
Yeah, just a nap.
Just like those pods in Japan where you can just pay for like an hour's sleep, just go in there and like close the door.
Exactly. Would you like a nap with your coffee and milkshake?
It looks like Ash is buying next door now.
Well, it's actually for lease.
There we go.
Maybe I'll lease that too and steal your idea. Put some hammocks in there, a few pillows.
Yeah.
Digestion.
Digestion.
Call the second place digestion.
Yeah. The digestive pod.
Something that, like they've just done a sci-fi movie and they're like, dissecting the alien digestive pod. Like,
yeah. You have to enter one shop and go through all three.
Yeah.
Concepts.
That's where you finish.
We're big ideas.
I mean, you were saying pink was a girl.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that in the 17th century, that was for boys. Pink was for boys. Blue was for girls.
True.
So,
True.
if you have anyone from the 1700s come along, they'd be like, oh, this is a very masculine place. Very masculine.
Maybe I'll invite Maggie down.
Yes.
She can bring her puds.
Yes.
Some steamed puds. Yes. I've brought you something for opening. It's a pudding.
Oh, delightful.
Your daughter's there going, oh, Mummy, more pudding.
Oh, pudding.
More pudding. Bizarre.
So apropos of absolutely none of that whatsoever, space conversation. Let's talk. Because I'm a massive space geek.
Yeah.
So I was really enjoying when you were doing the, doing the Dark Side of the Moon. Okay, you're like, space geek. I'm like, I like them all. Let's keep her. Let's keep her in there forever. So that's the only space you had planned. Was there more coming?
No, not for the bake. There wasn't really any opportunity to do.
Well, then they can send it home. Okay, it's fine. That's good.
I've done a few space cakes, like galaxy cakes with like rocket ships and stuff before.
I could get a Saturn V rocket for my birthday. Like, I want the different sections of the Saturn V. So, like, you can separate the top module from the second module and, like, you actually have the stages break off. That could be funny. And, like, again, like, you just throw them off. Like, throw the cake rather than fire it off. Probably can't put explosives in the
unless
cake.
you put a whack-a-wick in it.
We can whack a wick in it. You're right. You could whack a
Sorry,
wick.
this is from last week's.
This is
Just
running
throw
from
some
last week.
sparklers up the butt.
Yeah. That's it. So you set it off where you go and whack the wick in it and then whack it off.
I'm getting very early 2000s internet vibes from that. Please stop. But no, again, I think that as you sort of indicated, your artistic sort of background came across in all of your bakes, and I think it was the thing that separated you out as a little bit different in there was everything you did had that slight artistic edge to it. And again, like the book in the first one, I love the leggings, by the way. The improvised leggings were fantastic.
Yeah, when in doubt, paint it gold.
Yeah, when in doubt, it's always the way to
You either throw bacon on it or put
paint it gold.
Yeah.
Simple. But in terms of all of those style of bakes, was the book something that obviously it had special meaning with you and your daughter as well? Was that something where you were like, if I make this one and it's absolutely perfect, I don't care where we go from here because I've got that out there at least?
Yeah, I really wanted to do something that was really special to me for the first episode. And something that really showed everything I could do, just in case I did get eliminated. Like, I didn't want to go out on, a half-assed baked where I know I can do better. Yeah. So I tried to get as much in as possible. And I made my own fondant. Like, I did so much crazy shit, like in such a short time. I don't know how I did it.
She's out the back milling her own flour.
It felt like it. I was like, oh God, by the end of it, I was like sweating my ass off. And
white paper. It was just
yeah, God, cutting that paper and sticking those like individual little book sheets, papers, pages? Yeah, pages. What are they called?
I was about to call them book leaves. Like books a tree. These are its leaves.
Yeah, it took so long, and because I did like a practice bake, but it was half the size, and I didn't really I had so much time. I was like, yeah, this will be fine. Then the bake that I did in the shed was like double the height because I did a really thick layer of mousse in the middle as well. The first one I did at home was quite thin, so it was literally like, I don't know, like 15 centimeters tall. I had to cut hundreds of individual little pieces of wafer paper and try and stick them on. At the same time, I was like trying to make my fondant figurines, which I've never done before. So that was dumb. And they looked hideous. The production was like, at the end of like the day, they're like, oh, we've kept these aside for you so you can take them home. All your cake's been eaten, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, that's fine. And they're like, here's your little fairies you can get. I was like, oh my God. It's like, your daughter would want them. I'm like, no, she won't. She's going to look at them and be like, what are they? What are they, Mum?
This is where I would have been giving them out as gifts to the other bakers as a you know, I want you to, something to remember me by. Here, it's just a little memento, and someone would have taken it and treasured it for the rest of their lives, and you're like, I got rid of that. Thank God.
Yeah.
I like how she
I literally just threw it in the bin. I was like, this has got to go. I can't look at it again. It's traumatizing.
You could have fairies around the, you know, the parklands there for the dogs to find.
No, I've got a better idea. I've got a much better idea. What you should have done with them was, we all know about Christmas and Elf on the Shelf.
Oh,
you could have put the fairies in a different position inside the shed every week. And just seen where they sit. Someone opens their fridge to put it, they're sitting on the shelf.
They're sitting there.
Maggie are
just
there
staring out with their dark black eyes.
Maggie are there doing judging. They're sitting on the gingham.
That
would have been cool, just hiding them in the background of shots the whole time. You know,
that actually would have been really funny.
You've got
I thought we had to make our own figurines for that, and I got there, and everyone had these little plastic. I was like,
I made mine.
Really fucked up you. I made them like.
I made my thoughts very plain on that. Again, when Matt was doing the whole everything on a cake must be edible and then didn't come up with the figurines, I'm sorry, but the figurines are on the cake. You should be able to eat
I know. Them. He even had a go at me for using a cake board in between my 2-tier cakes.
What are you supposed to do? Watch it collapse?
I know. He's like, the cakes are sturdy enough. I'm like, yeah, but it's like 40 degrees in here and there's icing in there too. It's not just cake. Yeah. And like 500 grams of chocolate.
I made a lot of references the other day to how hot it was. It's like,
yeah.
But what I love,
it's very hot in there.
Yeah.
At home, you wrote the abridged edition of your cake. You know, it's almost the York notes of your cake. And then you go into the tent of the shed, and you write the fully annotated book with the, you know, introduction by several esteemed authors, and it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So what books do you and your daughter like to read?
I like reading all sorts of books. I've got like a whole library of books. There's like thousands of them. So many. But I really love like sci-fi and like fantasy kind of books, because it gets me out of like the real world and it can escape from like everyday life and just like really get into the book. But I also really love reading like educational books and stuff like that. So with my daughter, I bought her like all the ABCs of science and like rocket science for babies and baby engineers, like been reading them to us. Yeah. Puds 101.
A is for apricot.
P is for pudding.
Steam.
Yeah. C is for custard.
L is for lard.
Talking about all like the cool books you buy your daughter, and I'm like, I just remember having to read The Hungry Little Caterpillar like a zillion times to my nephew. It's the only fucking thing he wanted to, like my middle nephew. Yeah. The eldest wanted me to make up stories for him. His favorite was one I wrote about, I told him about Monty the Python, because he wanted something about a snake. That popped into my
creative. I wonder how you got there.
You're a genius.
So does she have like a favorite engineering repetitive books? Like it's Mum, I've got to make this,
She really used to love, when she was like real tiny, we had ABCs of coding, and it was like about algorithms and stuff, but it was like, baby takes 3 steps to the front, then 3 steps to the left. How many steps does she have till she gets to her toy? She used to love it. And then when like she takes another 3 steps in the book, she gets to the toy and goes, baby shouts, hooray. And whenever we got to that page, we would be like, hooray.
I mean, look, Anonymous has been coding into Russian, hacking into Russian television and playing Ukrainian videos. I mean, look, in the future, there's a job for her in Defence Forces as just coding.
Oh, she's not going to Defence Force. Definitely not.
Independent.
She can be a private hacker.
Independent coding is far more lucrative.
Yeah, way more money in that.
Yeah, government contract.
She's a contract hacker.
Hacker for hire.
Yeah.
That's her shop next door. Hacker for
Yeah.
hire.
Blackened windows.
Jim's mowing franchise, but hacker for hire. She's franchising businesses worldwide by 12. She's like running everything. You're like, I'm retiring again off the hacker for hire money because you've got this sorted. We're fine.
Yeah, you got this, girl.
in terms of being in there, it's a really, what we've said a lot this season is that it's a really cool mix of individuals they managed to put together. How was it, A, meeting everybody, and B, was there anyone in particular you really enjoyed getting to sort of watch in between migraines and stress?
It was so good meeting everyone, actually. I think that was probably the highlight of the whole show, was meeting all the other bakers. Everyone was so different. Just like you said, it was such a diverse cast. Like, everyone was unique. Everyone had their own strengths and, their own little quirks. I was probably the least quirky person there because I'm not very quirky at all. I'm very like...
Dame Edna could walk in and still not be as quirky as Nerman. Like that. That's...
Yeah. Yeah. I really loved getting to know Nerman. He is that crazy in real life. Like, he is just bonkers. But he is so lovely and so smart. And just such a genuine, kind-hearted person. It was just so nice to meet him. He was so caring and genuine, which a lot of them were. I really liked. Aaron was like that as well. And you see them on the show and you're like, man, those guys are weird. And they are. They're so weird. They're so weird. But they're great. Like, they're just such great people. Like, everyone's so amazing in there. It was really fun to watch everyone work collectively because so many weird things were going on all at the same time. You're just like, where do I even look? Like, I'm supposed to be focusing on my baking, but this guy's doing something so weird. I don't even know what he's doing, but I just can't take my eyes off him. So
coming out of there and there and
I'm like, what is going on? Why is he laying on the floor? What's going on?
What, Norman? Why are you there again?
Yeah.
Stand up, man. Stand up. It's easier to bake.
Stop crying. You won.
I think he, helped you, he got you to help him work on his various steampunk automatons and mobiles, like his blimp, his balloon.
Where did Nerman tie up the hot air balloon every morning when he arrived at the shed? Because we know he is traveling the globe in a hot air balloon as a steampunk prince. We know this.
Of course. He actually tied it up with the horses at the front.
Oh, of course.
Excellent.
As opposed to the horses at the back.
No, you don't want to go to the horses.
Can't trust those horses at the back. They're shady.
No. Shady horses.
Doing shady deals.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very, as you said, it's a very diverse bunch. It's a very different bunch of bakers, but it's the blend that brings everyone together that I think is making it work. Like the fact you've got Nerman, you've got Carmel and the bunnies, and I'm assuming at this point they are a single entity that you cannot separate. Carmel and the bunnies. It is an indie pop band waiting to happen. You've got Hayden, who is consistently rewriting a Broadway standard, but singing about a soup bun.
Yeah, he's going to get a contract at the end of this for sure.
And speaking of that, I have a bone to pick with you.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Guys, welcome to the podcast. We're just going to grill you.
We're just going to grill you.
All right.
I just want to, again, we had a week where, Hayden was obviously singing a lot, including on, the interview. And then the next week, it's a nice quiet moment. Everyone's baking. We turn around and you are there encouraging extra singing from Hayden.
I know. You just have to. We needed some entertainment. You've got to feed it.
Yeah.
You give it a little bit of encouragement. Get the singing happening.
No, I don't think there was any.
It's too fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
because he's going to bite back. You got to defeat him.
You're like, why'd you start it? Because I knew he'd go with it.
Well, there's
no.
I don't think Claire and Mel, that's their strong point. The singing, they're there to crack some jokes. They're your awesome, comedy duo hosting the radio station in the shed. But then you need the music, to bring you.
They are the
of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and Broadway.
They are the self-confessed theatre nerds. I will give them that much. But no, it's a really, as I said, it is a really fun and different mix. And as you pointed out, you're probably the least quirky out of everybody in there. But doing something.
Yeah, in the first episode, everyone must have thought I was just the most boring person because I was just like potting away, doing my work. Everyone else is doing all this fun, cool stuff. And I'm just there like,
no, I mean,
not doing anything boring.
As we said on the first episode, you can go too big with that. And I did say to warn Aaron about, declaring himself to be the quirky one after the first challenge. He's like, I'm the
big call.
Like, that's a huge decision to make that far out.
Yeah.
And secondly, now they're
like saying you're the hot one.
Well, again, this is the thing. And if you go with that one, they can't eliminate you for that. Yeah. But if you tell them that you're quirky and they go, you know what, that's not as quirky as I thought. That's just a straight up bake. You're going home. So you've got to be very careful.
Basic bitch.
So that's the name of your cafe? Like just did that sign through council?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And what are you,
I love it.
Yeah. So from the experience there, is there anything you're going to take into your cafe, to your dessert bar? Sorry, I keep calling it the
cafe.
It's
the cafe. Same thing. It's a sweet cafe.
Dessert disco.
Yeah. Maybe that can be the name.
You will.
Dessert disco is 100% it now.
Yeah. I don't know, really. I think the overall experience did give me a lot of confidence to do it. I mean, I had confidence anyway because I know I'm good. Like, I wouldn't have got on the show if I wasn't. So I think just giving me, being in the spotlight, being kind of like there, having people asking you questions and still being able to work under pressure in that environment, I think is something that I can take into the cafe, because it is owning a business, especially a restaurant, is a lot of work. It's a lot of pressure on someone, and especially if I'm going to be working in the kitchen dealing with staff, like it'll give me being in the shed with all the other bakers, like because everyone is so different. Like I'm not really a people person. I'm very introverted. Like I stay at home a lot. Like I said, like I've got a lot of books. I read, I watch TV, I hang out with my daughter. I don't really go out socializing all that often. So I think being in the shed and getting to know all the other people, like the bakers, and working with them and just talking to them and getting that interpersonal connection sort of gave me a lot of confidence to go forward and be like, maybe I can work with other people, and I can, I can be a boss, and I can, give out instruction and help people, because I help a lot of people in the shed. Like they didn't really show me helping anyone, but I helped like nearly everyone in there. And I love doing it. I don't care that they didn't show up, because like I didn't do it for that reason. Like I did it because they needed help, and I'm obviously going to help people if they want guidance.
You really should have run with that boss bitch idea. I mean, that was perfect. Councils are far more liberal nowadays with businesses. You probably could have got that through. But in terms of baking style, so is cake probably your strongest, or what do you consider to be your strongest baking style?
A cake.
Cake, definitely.
Cake, definitely. Yeah.
So if they came to you and said, for next season, we want you to design one challenge, what would you pick?
I would do a wedding cake challenge.
How long would you give them?
5 hours.
Nice.
See, I like the idea of doing.
That's generous.
Yeah, I like the idea of having every now and then doing something that's a mega long challenge.
Yeah.
Just lots of elements as you go, and you've got to nail every single element because the floors are going to show up. Things like a wedding cake, for example.
Would you put a twist in there, like it's a wedding cake that needs to be able to be served at altitude or something? Like something.
How would you even judge that?
But like,
this would taste like shit on a plane.
Yeah. How light is the cake?
Can you take it into the altitude? It still tastes good. I'm trying.
It'd have to be 3 tiers.
Yeah.
3 tiers and booze in each tier. Each tier.
And each tier has to have something movable on it.
Each tier.
Each tier has to have something movable on it.
That would be interesting. The cake has to rotate.
And you haven't specified which direction it has to rotate. So
no, any.
Really defying gravity.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
Like a Wheel of Fortune cake.
Yeah. Oh, that would be sick.
Wedding, no wedding. Wedding, no wedding.
Buy a vowel. like a vowel, but not.
Yes, nice.
Oh, that could be.
And the ghost of Adriana comes past.
That could be really cool, though, the idea of a three-tiered wedding cake with booze in each layer. I like that. That becomes tricky as well in matching the booze.
Yeah. And having each tier a different flavour. Incorporating booze would be hard to get the different flavours. That would be a good challenge.
I'd do it upside down because then you can have like your charcuterie booze at the top, in the larger thing. Because like I'm thinking an Italian wedding here,
of course you are.
We go for a good spread, like Carmel and I making the top layer, okay? It's going to have some, I don't know, something cool and delicious to drink with it.
And then Lydia gets involved in one. Yep. And Lydia, of course, can't taste it. So
it's just pure alcohol.
But basically,
it's flambeing.
I'm going down so that the last tea is just a tiny but potent limoncello. Like it's going to be one kind of bite and you waste
one bite. Yeah.
Oh, that would also be defying gravity. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So going upside down.
Yeah. I don't know how it works, but you're a thinker.
Yeah. In the middle, there's obviously a lot of things with like a good passata.
Passata. So to move away from the passata idea, because I think we had it, and I think we've lost.
We've got a bit off track.
I don't know. Is lasagna technically a cake? I mean,
I know that's like Carmel doing pasta in bread sculpture challenge.
Well, it's close. It's a ballpark.
Why not?
It's an absolute ballpark.
Yeah.
What was it? So, what was it that actually got you to look at Bake Off in the first place? Had you watched the previous seasons of Australian, or was it something that was on a whim, or what was it?
Yeah, I'd actually watched all the seasons on Foxtel of Bake Off of Australia and a lot of the English one as well. I've always loved baking. I just never, in the past, I never really thought about doing it. Like, I just didn't think, I'd be the type of person that they'd want on TV. And then I was just like talking to my mum, and she's like, why don't you just apply? Just try and we'll see what they say. Like, all they can say is no. Like, they're not going to be like, call you up and tell you how shit you are. I'm like, you fucking suck. You can't come on the show. You're pathetic.
That's a brand new approach from production. You, never bake again. Never. Burn your oven.
What they do
is
walk you through
throw that mixer in the bin.
The bell yelling out,
shame.
Just paint a big red cross on my front door.
I just paint a big red cupcake with a cross through it.
Yeah. Perfect.
That was one of those ones where it's like, well, you might as well apply for it.
Yeah, exactly. I get I question myself a lot about whether or not I'd be good enough for something. So I was just like, oh, I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if I'd be good enough. And my mom was like, of course you are. Stop being silly. Just apply and see what they say. And then I applied, and then obviously I got in, obviously.
Go, Mom.
Yeah, I was actually really shocked that I got in.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't expecting to. I was kind of like, oh yeah, I'll just apply and see what happens. Didn't actually think I would, get in or get an interview or anything. And then, week passed and another week, and then next thing you know, I was like, oh yep, you're in. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Sweet.
No, I've got to do
I've got to do a lot of stuff now. I'm going to be on TV. Oh my God, what have I done?
And I know this is such a banal question.
Go on.
But I want to know, because you had watched a lot of it. What was it like for you walking into the
shed?
The shed itself.
It was really surreal. I wasn't sure what to expect. Obviously, I knew we were going to be making TV, but I wasn't sure if, it was even filmed in a shed. Like, you don't know. Like, you think, yeah, it's probably filmed in a shed, but you don't know. Like, because, Home and Away is filmed in and green screen. Like, you just don't know. So you get there and you're like, oh, it's actually this big shed and it's beautiful. And the first time you see it, it's just like, oh my God, I'm at the shed.
It's such an impressive structure to see in person. And I wasn't expecting it to kind of look like that, to be honest. Like, I've seen it on TV, but I didn't expect it to look like that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does, because like when I was on Romper Room, like you see Romper Room on TV, right? When you're a kid. Sorry, you might be a bit too young for this. I don't know. I was on Romper Room. I don't know if I've mentioned that.
Times. Up there with your Vidiot story. Go on.
Yeah, and like when you're watching it on TV, it looks like this big, full, complete land of romper and room, but it really is a room. Like,
yeah.
Less romping, more room.
Less romping, more room.
There's more romper room on Bake Off with Nerman and his rompers.
Yes,
so there's far more romper with
Loves
that.
a romper.
Now the man's a bandit for a romper.
That's his
isn't he?
I still like how golden's my sponge. But,
okay.
But no, it's again, it is a highly impressive and highly haunting building to walk up to, and no doubt you did about 15 million walk-ups to that thing as well. So like after a while you're like, oh, another one. I thought about smooth editing that, but I can't be bothered, to be blunt. Storms, etc. Fun times.
Yeah, for weather.
Yeah, bit of a dropout. So we're back now, though. We were talking about Nerman and rompers, but we've got far better things to talk about.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about your ink, because you've got some spectacular sleeves. And
yes, I've got a lot of tattoos.
Yeah. So are you happy to talk about them, or is that?
Yeah.
No, can talk about it. Where did you get it done? How long did it take? All the things.
A lot of time. Lucky I have small arms. But yeah, I've got 2 sleeves.
Yeah.
So they're all. I know the listeners can't see them, but you guys can see them.
We can, so that's important.
She's currently showing us tattoos. So
there's lots of different animals and birds and stuff like that. So I've got 2 sleeves. I've got a piece on my thigh, my back, got one on my foot, and I've got the whole back of my head tattooed as well.
Nice.
That's impressive.
What is the pain threshold for that? Or is it like that?
It's pretty bad. Not gonna lie, it wasn't fun.
No,
it was like, so when like the back of my leg, when I got the back of my calf done, and they're like, it might be a bit painful there, but it'll be a bit more painful the closer it gets to the back of your knee. And I'm like, oh yeah. Okay. And then it was like, no, this is great. I didn't feel any pain. Went to the back of the knee, and I'm like, that's smarting a little bit now. That's right in the sensitive spot.
Yeah.
It was really funny because I had a friend of mine go, what does it feel like? And I said, it feels just like someone's putting a needle into your skin.
Thousands of them.
Exactly. Lots of little needles.
Yeah, over and over again, over the same spot constantly.
Like, I find the line work easy because like I can trance out during that. It's when they kind of get to the end of coloring and it's that shading and that grading, and it's like a cat is just scratching you in that line.
It's so bad. The shading is the worst.
Because you still got coloring to go.
Yeah, so I've got my awesome Wonder Woman here. If you can see.
So people at home can't see this, but Kristie's got an awesome Wonder Woman.
Woman. And I started that for my 40th birthday. That was 2 years ago. And it was just as COVID kicked in. So I think we got sessions in, got all the line work done and a bit of the colour in the roses. And hello pandemic. So at some point, maybe before I'm 60.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate that when they're doing the color and then they just have to keep going over and over and over the same spot, and it's like literally going over flesh, like raw flesh, and you're like, can you stop?
Well, that's like the back under mine on my calf. There's banners on it with writing on it, and part of the banner they went with the tannish sort of color for the background. So it's like that was the bit that hurt the most. All the color was fine. There's purples, there's greens. All of the colour was fantastically fine. The bit that looked like skin, killed. Absolutely killed. I'm like, you could have just left the skin.
Yeah, just left it plain.
Got to shade this. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. You should try getting shading on your scalp.
Well, I think I'll leave that one to you, to be honest. I'm going with the scalp shading.
It makes it, because it's all on bone.
Yeah.
And there's no fat or no muscle underneath it at all. So it literally, You feel it through your whole body. Your whole body is vibrating. It's the worst.
That's just like rattling your skull. Like,
yeah. It's probably why I get migraines.
There we go, folks. You got the exclusive here on.
Yeah.
Don't get head tattoos if you want to go on Bake Off.
If you're planning a Bake-Off trip, no skull tattoo.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's also been good to sort of see, again, someone that's not just, you get like in British Bake Off, you traditionally get either the older bakers, or you get a couple of the really young ones who are young, vibrant, clean skin, clean cut. I'm here to make a career out of it. I like seeing tattoos and a bit of lived experience.
Yeah, you don't really see it on baking shows very often, but so many pastry chefs are covered in tattoos, but you just don't get that representation on TV very often.
My favorite thing on Bake Off, which is a lovely little hidden, because a lot of people I know miss it. Check out Matt while he's talking, and when Matt's especially got his white shirt on with the vest, check out Matt's arms. Right, his tattoos are more and more visible by the day. Like as the shirt sleeves are getting shorter and shorter, around, the tattoos are more and more visible on the arms.
By the end of it, he's just going to be wearing suspenders,
suspenders, and a complete body sleeve. Just that's it.
Yeah.
Heart Maggie.
Verjuice forever.
Or just pasties. He's just wearing pasties and suit pants.
That feels like a request. Foxtel, get onto that.
Spin off.
Bake Off Up Late. We keep saying that.
I keep suggesting Bake Off Up Late. I don't think they'll ever go with it. But, maybe that's one of the ones when, Mel and Claire are always pitching shows.
Yes.
They have to pitch more Bake Off Up Late, because I think it needs to at this point.
And we know it's going to be hosted by Mike Goldberg.
Mike Goldberg, yes.
Goldberg, that's it.
That's a reference for past generations.
Mid-2000s. Jesus Christ, I keep remembering that's 20 years ago almost. We're in the future, Kristie.
We're in the future, Kristie. Hover. Hover cars are a thing.
We rehydrate pizza.
And Michael J. Fox plays guitar.
Yeah.
No, but in terms of the experience, obviously the way it ended was not what you would want it to be, but overall, I'm assuming a fairly positive experience.
Yeah, it was. It was great. It was very different to anything I've ever done before, and it was really outside my comfort zone. So it was something that was really special for me to do, even if it did end in a shitty way. It was cut a bit short. At least I still did it. Like I can always say for the rest of my life, I was on Bake Off and I met all these cool people and did all this cool shit, and no one can take that away from me. Luna. Sorry, my dog is just like jumping up on the wall.
He's a fan of the podcast. But
I think like a giant bug has just like flown inside.
Your dog's like,
it's like up on the wall. My dog's like,
the dog's like, we're going to end this.
You know what it is? Yeah. It's your fondant fairies that's come to come back to
haunt me.
But as I've mentioned,
hello, mother.
Why did you throw us in the bin?
As I've mentioned to you,
don't you love us?
You're uneliminated technically.
Come and play.
So realistically, you've got the ability to put down a challenge to whoever wins in like a one-on-one Bake Off for the crown. Laura from last season. You should have like this semi-final Bake Off and then take on whoever wins this series.
I know. I need to get a glove and throw it at her.
Oh, yes, then a duel. You need to throw the gauntlet down for the duel. Literally, we'll give you a gauntlet. You throw it down.
And then we'll just get some chocolate. What's it? Molding chocolate.
Molding chocolate and make a gauntlet. I mean, you can't make it inside the shed because far too much chocolate.
Yeah.
We saw from Hayden tempering chocolate. No.
Hey, I did it.
Oh,
you did make.
I didn't make frogs though. I just made.
No, you didn't make frogs.
Yeah.
You weren't trying to replicate it. You weren't trying to replicate a trademark recipe. You were just making a koala out of chocolate, out of modeling chocolate,
which may have the same components as the caramello koala.
I'm a bit. See, again, if I was to redo that, if I was even to redo that one, we talked about moving components. You need the train from the commercial, and then you just Koala, they call me Karen. Koala.
And Foxtel's going, we don't have the rights.
No rights.
Either the trademark or the song.
We don't have the rights.
Stop it.
That nostalgia, just before we finish up, that nostalgia challenge was one of my absolute favorite things, not because of the challenge itself, because I raised some issues about the challenge itself. But what I did enjoy about it was everyone trying really hard not to say trademarked words. It was fantastic. They were chocolate frogs. They weren't.
Yes, we got a very stern talking to about that.
Chocolate frogs. And then what I loved about it was the whole thing that ruined it was Matt Moran calling it a wagon wheel. And then that's like a wagon wheel. I like wagon wheels. Wagon wheels were great. Aren't wagon wheels fantastic? And almost going, okay, it's over. Just do it.
Yeah.
You know, skirting around it, and he just comes and goes, it's the way it shatters that matters. Like,
just yelling chocolate slogans.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's been an absolute delight to get to chat to you finally, Ash.
Thank you. It was lovely.
And where can people keep an eye out for your cafe opening announcement and all that?
I'm going to be posting a lot of it on my Instagram, which is Sugar Artist Ash, which everyone probably knows. And then I have an Instagram as well for my baking page that you can link, well, for my cafe that you can link through my thing. It's called Treatz in Wollongong, CBD. BRB Square.
Treatz.
Yes.
Exactly. With a Z.
Exactly. With a Z.
That's how you know it's cool.
Because it's cool.
Oh, you know it's cool because it's misuse of letters.
Yeah.
So
Treats from the streets.
English, I'm bringing you bakes.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Ash, for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
No problems. Until next time, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
And we will catch you.
And I'm Ash.
Bye.